Welcome to Inspiration Radio, Growth Principles for Humanity and Progress. Join us when we share information, wisdom, and ideas how to create an extraordinary future for us all. The future is open. We together decide what will be in it. Welcome to another episode of Winspiration Radio. And today I really specially welcome you because we're in the beginning of 2024. And ideally with new insights, new thoughts, because everybody is saying, and I believe it too, this will be a very special year. Very fast changes are possible. It can be a lot of stress for us, negative and positive. I go now here in my second year with weekly shows, comments, interviews, and I really was thinking, can I do it another year? Because I guess what very important is in 2024 is that we are so good in focusing also in the inside, what is our intention? When I started the shows here, I was thinking more, oh, how do I do it? It was what others are doing. It was really a focus on the outside. I switched from the topic, so I got people for an interview, what was really important for me, and also messages which are very important for me to share. But it is not just an ego thing here. And this is what, at least from my side, will be different this year. Last week, we had an episode which were cut out of 3 old ones. And it was not done by me because I had 1 week where I couldn't really work. It was physical issues, call it health issues. Something extremely changed in myself, my body, but I am not my body. It's just part of something. And this alignment, whole alignment of spirit, soul, consciousness with the body, I had really a kind of collapse and I couldn't really walk and work. So someone from the team organized that we had an episode. But the real intention of the episode was to deliver something this week, not to have just an old one repeated, and pick something what was already in the direction what is good for 2024. But in this process of transformation, I really was thinking, is this the right thing to do here? Because it's really, really easy to go in this intention, oh, I need to do another episode, I need to do it, I need to have an interview or whatever. And it's really a tough thing to do something weekly, like a lot of things where you need to have discipline. Okay, something is forcing you to do that. I did in German language for 5 years a podcast, which was just an audio podcast, and I stopped it by the end of the year because I'm starting this year with a YouTube channel also in German language and interviewing people, because I believe we need information, we need insights, we need a different understanding what is going on in the world and how humanity can move forward, evolve, or like we say here, for humanity in progress. But also it is showing examples. Look here. When you thought about this, you're not alone. There are more and more people who really think we need to change something in how we do business, education, health, so-called health system. And that's why I decided in the end just continue with the weekly shows, but there should be something different. And I hope I can make it more clear with the next episodes. Simply, I can say, when I use the word intention already, it is that we get all the awareness. It is about the intention in our work, in our making of a show. I mean, when you do a show, whatever we do, it is really going to the intention. And if my intention is good and I'm really aligned, then fear can go away. The intention is on a different level, a different dimension, different frequency than this so-called 3D level. But mainly when we have fear, it's about an identification with something on the 3D level. I need to deliver a show. What if I don't do it? What is the fear underneath? Oh, then they don't like me, or then I'm a failure, or whatever. And it's just deeper beliefs. And has nothing to do with my true self. And this year, some say we will maybe even experience, maybe not personally, but in the news and everything, even more war situations than before. There is more than just Ukraine and Israel, but okay, they might dominate the news. But to really understand what is always happening there, if you go in both, let's say, Ukraine and Israel, Palestine, if you go there and in the history, then you see it's not just about this week or this year. There is something going on for a long, long, long time, where there are problems which were not really solved. And today, then we have at the top of the power game, we have them some, partly I can even say kind of psychopaths who just play the power game. And they don't care how many people are suffering. And just now in Davos also, these wars were a big topic. And Zelensky, he always goes there. Partly it's okay, I can at least understand it, what he's doing, and asking for money and support of the war. Like I said, something, let's don't free the war. We need the war. Because what he said is, in one way, is it's right. He hasn't thought this is right. If this conflict is not solved really, that it is really ending, then it will rise again later and later. And that's what we have in Ukraine with this former topics, and in Palestine. It's a huge history of hundreds of years where the problem is really rooted. But the solution, Zelensky and a lot of others, like in Israel also, we need to defeat the Hamas and so on. This is not, when we go to the frequency and the intention, the simple right thing to do. And for sure, it's not good now, says, wow, we killed so many terrorists, and represent a feeling of power and even being proud that we had. Maybe part of the problem with Ukraine, for example, is that the Western world always kind of ignored Putin and didn't take him serious. So then we need to understand there's all human beings. And they all have their pain and trauma. And they act from there. And when we play, if it's Israel or if we play Ukraine or wherever it is, or you in your private home or in your company, the win-lose game. Maybe you can, if you are the winner, can feel quite good for a while because I'm the winner. I defeated the others. They can't do, they are powerless at the moment. Then you need to be aware, it's just a question of time, when the loser, those who lost in this win-lose game, just as they need to take on the conflict again. So the real solution with Ukraine, and I use this now, these two, because they're famous enough, everybody knows them, even if we had more conflicts on planet Earth. But if we see that, and if we, and you, and if you just decide on this side or on that side, you, even if you win, maybe, shortly, you working on that the conflict will continue. If you suppress something, if it's in your body, you suppress an emotion, there comes one day the reaction and the sickness. If you suppress people, there must be one day be a problem. So we need to get out of this suppressing. I'm speaking here at the moment from South Africa. I spent a few months here for my personal transformation, and that has a lot to do also to learn on a different level forgiveness. Because everybody knows about Mandela and the apartheid politics and that he was in the prison. And when he came out of prison, everybody expected, the whites, the blacks, everybody expected now the fight goes on and he leads the fighting. But Mandela changed in the prison. And he was even asked, what did you do there 27 years? He says, I prepared myself. And what you hear from those who were taking care there, and it's just the guards and everything, he said, wow, they could see his change. That he changed from, let's say, a warrior, a terrorist, to really someone with deep human love. Someone who really, really went for love and forgiveness. And I tell you, I had, in younger years, a lot of problems with forgiveness because they did this to me, they did that to me, and so on. Even I grew up, I blamed my father, he did that to me, and that's why I have this disadvantage, and so on. I was really good in blaming. But maybe, and ideally, everybody one day realizes, with a little bit more awareness, okay, if I blame, in my case, for example, my dad, what does it change? Nothing is changing to the better. It's just justifying the old energy drop. I can stay there. I can say, okay, you're responsible because I feel so shitty today. But if I get enough awareness, I realize that I feel so shitty And then I don't want it, ideally. I want to feel different. And will I ever, ever, ever feel different if I keep on blaming others? And will I ever, ever, ever feel not only different, even feel deep inner joy if I play the old game and one part is the blaming and the part was also important is with the blaming is it is something on the outside. I can blame myself too, but in this case here, it's blaming on the outside. And if we blame something on the outside or looking for something on the outside creates a solution, we are always wrong. We are looking really for peace. Everybody wants peace. Yes, some power game struggle people not because they need the war for their personal existence, but the souls might be that they're different. But I guess, even if I didn't talk to all the people, the majority of planet Earth is looking for peace. But we're all looking at on the outside. And it will never, never work. And this has nothing to do, we come back to the win-lose thing. But if I believe on the outside something should change, then I still, in myself, have not enough peace. Because the inner blaming game is so I don't have inner peace. And to have inner peace, first of all, we need the forgiveness. And forgiveness just simply, and I guess you heard it also quite often, it's not about accepting and saying, wow, that was good that you did this to me. No. It's just changing your inner frequency. Getting off the hook of blocked energy. Because if you blame someone, you give them the power. So get all the power back, get your energy back, and enable yourself to go on a frequency where is love. And a lot of people believe if there is war, they can't go on the frequency of love. And that's why when I mentioned Zelensky says, okay, if we're just stop fighting here, the real problem will never be solved. Yeah, he is right. But if we win, we keep on fighting, and one party, doesn't matter which party, is winning, it's not a solution. Because it is the focus on the outside, who is a winner in the power game, in the outside game, and it is nothing done for inner peace or, like here in South Africa, forgiveness. So what we really, really, really need is that all the parties involved in war change really their mind and simply get a bit variable power and the money game. Because now I see it, I'm a German, and I see in German, wow, the industry who is now producing the weapons, wow, went up, and the stock prices went up, and everything is proud now. And this is the stupidity. We need all to have the thinking, we don't want to make money this way. We want to have the thinking, how can we make these kind of industry obsolete? And that is when we are ready to really go into peace inside. And I have no kids, but I spoke with parents, especially with mom. And the mom, if they had a kid, and the kid is doing something what is not really nice, and the behavior is not okay, punishing someone else or destroying something or whatever. It's totally okay if the mom says no to the behavior. But the mom shouldn't go in rage as that awful, you and blaming and she was stupid. No. Like I learned from John DeMartini, whatever you've done or not done, you're worthy of love. And that we all learn to really, and that's the only way we as humanity can make a next step of involvement and progress, and we say everybody is okay. Everybody is okay. Not every behavior is okay. And that we really see it. And that's the ideal, or they call it the Christian ideal, or you see it in a lot of religions. If it's the democratic idea in declarations of independence, is when we talk about human rights, we are all in this way equal. Equal, that we should have respect and everything. And as a human, we should always be respected and loved. And not because of networks or whatever accomplishments, just because we are humans. And that was my understanding also with the Human Development Index, which is for more than 2 decades, something at the UN that says, okay, we need to measure our gross domestic product different. What is really good for the evolvement of humans, of humanity? And if we get that right, then it's a possibility, even if there is war with Ukraine or with Hamas, that we need to think how we protect ourselves first. And how do we neutralize, not fight against, only what is really necessary. But the main thing is, how can we go for peace and forgiveness? And you see, today they discuss about 2 different countries, Israel and Palestine, and they do it for years, but now we need to accept it. But it's not just simple a legal thing. It's not about just have a map and make 2 new circles and say this is this country and this is that country. No, I was in Jerusalem and met interfaith organizations. And on a different level of political power. Now, the people, it was Muslims, it was Jewish, and even Druids, and one of this association, and they said life together, and they just want to live in peace together. It's just them others. But we all, like all in the democratic countries, we vote. But it's the same. We just simply vote for someone on the outside. You should do something different. And it will not work. We need to really stand up for peace and forgiveness. And it starts all in us. Let's make a short break. It's not really a new thing to say, well, look inside of you first. Clear everything. But there is a lot what we, and hopefully this year in our Winspiration episodes, can share and bring you ideas to more awareness. Like when I talk about peace. Peace is not just, let's stop shooting. This is a frequency. This is how we respect and value each other. And a real peace always combined with forgiveness. We shouldn't long for a peaceful mind. That's not enough. We need peace from the mind. So why we are fighting, why we have a hard time to forgive, because we have some beliefs. And because we say, it should be like that. I grew up with that. But the more you travel around the globe, you see other people are having different beliefs. And even in a private, romantic relationship, when there comes discussion, if there comes fight, if you just watch it, it's about beliefs. I believe this should be right. I believe you should behave different. I believe it's all about the beliefs. And the interesting thing is, when a couple, or two people, let's say first two people, as we say, fall in love, it's not so much about beliefs. It's quite often the opposite. They can't think anymore. There's no beliefs. It's just an extreme feeling. It doesn't need to be always a good one if it's too much hormones and it's not a free thinking, but it's about the feeling. I just want to feel good with the other person. And just later, when maybe the hormones are gone and everything is changed, we know each other, and then we realize, oh, we have a totally different belief. And then we can start fighting. And it's always kind of, I want to change the other one. And the saying, it is what it is, says love, is suddenly gone. It's the same with the forgiveness. I don't need to accept. I also can always say, I love you. From the bottom of my heart, I love you. But I have a different idea of how I want to live. And if we are not compatible to live together, I think it's better we separate with all the love we have. I support you. Love, democracy, needs the acceptance that someone else thinks different, has a different opinion. Otherwise, it's always dictatorship and not love. So, we need to learn, if we really want to know ourselves, to be in peace, be capable of living forgiveness, we need to stop feeling resistant to the outside, that they need something different. So I don't want to go, should Ukraine win or Putin win or whatever. This is not my main concern. If we all go on the frequency of peace, if we would get real peace, and we would have forgiveness, I don't care who's winning or losing, because there is no winning and losing anymore. It's about that humanity wins, and not one of the parties. We come back, it's about the deeper intention. And our deeper intention, our gross principle for humanity and progress, should be that we go out of these win-lose game. If we have it inside, we will act like that. And it's so important that we ourselves understand that we are sovereign beings. You should be, if you want, the boss of your emotion and everything, what's going on inside, and not be the victim. You have the full responsibility. Don't get me wrong, I know it's so difficult because I was trained wrong. I had different reflexes. Yes, it's a challenge. But because we failed in the past, that we grew up with these simple reptilian brain, what is responsible for survival, that doesn't mean that we need to stay there. No, we can develop, and we already did. We have already so much more capacity for compassion. We can have the awareness of what is my real intention here, and that we can make decisions. And in this way, I believe, even if there's a discussion with the free will or not, we have the chance to develop us more and more, that we can use what we call free will. But it's the free will is not just on the 3D level, it's not just in our body material level. No, this comes more from our real self. If we go into consciousness and higher self, souls, or whatever the right word is for you, the more we develop that, the more awareness we have there, and the more consciousness we have about that, the more we can see and train and behave different. Then we can evolve. And that's the main thing, I believe, besides living this play where we are just being grateful to be born and to live it with a lot of joy. But the main thing is not simply to reproduce materials that now I have a kid, now I have a grandkid, and da. If nothing is evolving, that makes for me no sense. And that's why we should always start every day. I have such a limited time here on planet Earth. It's really something very special, like Deepak Chopra just said. If you will see how many stars, galaxies, planets, and planet Earth is, not on planet Earth, and the universe, then you understand that planet Earth is just one. And let's say we go to the beach and see all the little pieces of little stone, and take one sand corn and say, so this would be planet Earth if you relate it to all the sand and the beaches on planet Earth. There's so much more. And we are so little. And we failed so much if we go in the blaming game and the frustration game and the ego game and believing that this little sand corn, me, the sand corn, is the center of the universe and control everything. Yes, somehow we are always our center, but not that center. And for sure not that important. But we all can help that we are more and more important if we create more consciousness, if we go a different level. So what can we do? And this way is what they say, what Gandhi said, is a kind of way is just, if you want to really see changes, then you need to be the change. And what he's simply saying is, you need to be on the frequency you want to see the world. It is simple. If you go in the film The Secret, our friend and mentor Wolfgang always mentions this. You need to go on the frequency of your goal, be in the same frequency that it can materialize. So whatever we have for idea, vision, belief, how we could live on this planet, if it's a peace side, just the emotional, or how we treat each other side, or it's the material side, we can have it all. The universe works like this. But it works only if we're on the frequency. If we really understand that we need to be on this frequency. And that's why William James, for example, said the great use of life is to spend it for something that outlasted. This goes beyond. And here we come back to 2024. Just let's make another break. So 2024. So many people say it will be maybe a rough year. It will be so challenging. First of all, because everything goes faster. And it is such a challenge that a lot of things will change. So now you have the chance to really stress yourself. Because if it goes faster on the old belief timeline 3D level. If you really, with yourself, you can watch it. Simply like you could watch a movie, a thriller, let's say 30 years ago, watch it. One of my favorites for that is Bullet, Steve McQueen in San Francisco with the car. I mean, at that time when we saw it, wow, what a race. Recently I saw it and I found it quite boring because my whole system was adjusted to speed and what they had on TV already. Today, it's so much more real today. So we can adjust. But if you, the car of Steve McQueen, you can't adjust because that's 3D, fixed 3D world. But if we just watch it, it can be faster. Like in a hurricane in the middle, it's very, well, said Bob Proctor again, it says, calm down and speed up. On the outside, it can be now really fast. But inside, it's a big chance now to be more calm than ever. Be with yourself. And this is only those will really, let's call it survive if they understand their true self. And we need to be really careful if you too much in social medias and the outside thinking, use it for what you want to bring into the world, but don't get lost in it. It's about you. And the more you are really, really with yourself, then everything can be easier. Because then you can use what's on the outside and you live from the inside out. And then you can go out, so if we talk about different dimensions, out of the linear thinking. Because all technologies, all the experience, they have all the problems which leads always us in really big trouble. Because the world is not linear. It's so much more complexity. And if we are really with us, then accept that we 2024, some are forced, if it's different radiation from the sunshine, if it whatever artificial intelligence, whatever happens on the outside, what might force us to rethink our beliefs, then we have a chance to really go, and I say it and I really believe it, we will experience this century kind of wealth we never experienced so far, and at the moment even can't think of it. because we will make a transformation. We get rid of all beliefs. And this is the most, we'll say, shaking thing in 2024. All beliefs have to go. And then we don't go linear living, working, or fighting for that. And all business system will crack. And be happy if something is crashing, because then the new thing will happen. If we always keep the old, we don't get to something new. And that's why and I said at the beginning now of this year, I had a kind of personal crash, getting rid really of some beliefs I really had kind of identification on still. And it's like dying. It was really like dying and painful. But that is not the truth. It's a fiction, these identifications. And therefore, it's so good if you die these deaths of beliefs, fiction, or like I call it, let the subpersonality die, that you can live. And here we come again. What's your intention? Why you're on planet Earth? So be more and more clear than ever. Who are you? What is your true self? And really connect it. What is identification and what is identity? And from the identity, what is your gift you want to bring in the world? What is the intention? What you want to experience here? And I hope it's a lot of joy. But if you want to make an impact and help to make for the humanity here, if the evolving process possible, that we live all better, then it's our daily work to be in the right intention and on the right frequency. And believe me, one person can make a huge difference. If you change the frequency on the radio, thousands of people hear different music. So what is your frequency? What is your intention for 2024? Mine is, hopefully, to meet you again and share more of my soul. I call it Wolfgang's View. And I hope you find your truth and share it with the world. Be inspired. 2024 will be a great year for all who really dare to go for the truth.